Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something really significant and honestly pretty concerning: the growing role of AI in online crime.
It's moving so fast.
Exactly. We've got this excellent report from CISO, that's the Center for Emerging Technology and Security at the Alan Turing Institute, which gives a really solid evidence-based look at what's going on. And we'll also touch on, the need for better tracking of AI incidents generally, using some insights from a separate brief called AI Incidents.
Yeah, that CISO report, it's interesting how they frame it. They're looking specifically at the next 5 years, 2025 to 2030.
Right.
The whole idea is to give policymakers, security folks, basically anyone who needs to know, a heads up on how criminals might use AI in that time frame. It really flags the urgency.
Totally. And they really did their homework for this report. It wasn't just a quick look. Literature review, interviews with, 22 experts?
Yeah, across government, academia, industry, law enforcement, the works.
Plus an online workshop. And they even did a side project just on AI and romance scams. That's a whole deep dive in itself, probably.
Oh, absolutely. A really challenging area. And that connects to the other piece you mentioned, the AI incidents brief.
Yeah.
Well, its proposal for a federated reporting framework, that's really key. We need a standard way to log these incidents, analyze them, and figure out how to respond. Without that standard reporting, we're sort of flying blind.
It makes sense. You need the data. And to make this really concrete, the CISO report kicks off with a pretty jaw-dropping example.
The Hong Kong one.
Yeah, May 2024. Finance worker at Europe, the big engineering firm, gets duped by an AI deepfake. We're talking super realistic. And transfers HK $200 million. That's like $20 million.
Wow.
And it wasn't simple. It was synthetic video and audio of the company's CFO. I mean, that really throws a spotlight on Gen AI and deepfakes and crime, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The sophistication there is, well, it's a wake-up call. It shows we're past the stage of slightly better phishing emails. This was targeted, high value, and used multiple AI tricks to basically exploit trust.
Before we get deeper into these trends, we really want to thank our sponsors. This kind of analysis wouldn't be possible without them, so big thanks to www.cisomarketplace.services, they connect cybersecurity leaders, and also to www.airriskless.com, who provide AI-powered risk assessments.
Their support is crucial. So, this acceleration the CISO report talks about.
Yeah, let's unpack that.
They found pretty solid evidence of a big jump in AI being used across the board. Financial crime, phishing, DDoS attacks.
CSAM.
Horrifically, yes, CSAM. And romance scams, too. The point is, AI isn't some future thing. It's already boosting criminal revenue and making the harm worse right now.
Okay, so what's driving it? Why the sudden surge? The report points to a few things. First off, just automation. AI lets criminals scale things up massively and quickly.
Exactly. Think about phishing. Instead of one person crafting emails, AI can spit out thousands, maybe even personalized ones, super fast. That changes the whole game, efficiency-wise.
And then there's augmentation. It's not always brand new crimes, right? It's taking existing online crime
and giving it an AI upgrade. Yeah. You get more believable fake content, text, audio, video, combined with automated ways to send it out. It just makes the whole criminal business model slicker.
It's like it lowers the bar for entry, but also makes the old pros even better.
That's a good way to put it. Realistic content makes the social engineering way more convincing, and the automation takes care of the donkey work. It's a tough combo to defend against.
And criminals aren't figuring this out in a vacuum. The report talks about how AI tech is spreading to criminal groups.
Right, from different places. From each other, maybe state actors, even adapting stuff from the legitimate private sector.
Diffusion, they call it.
Yeah, and it's critical. As these tools get easier to use, they inevitably end up being used maliciously. And the report mentions criminal innovation, too. They're not just using off-the-shelf stuff. They're actively finding new, nasty ways to use AI.
And the last driver they mention is kind of unsettling, the symmetry between AI's ability to deceive and, us, our own psychological weak spots.
That's a really sharp point. AI is getting scary good at mimicking how humans communicate, creating believable scenarios. It plays directly on our biases or trust, makes us vulnerable.
The specific examples are grim. Operation Cumberland, led by the Dutch police. They found one guy with 400,000 AI-generated CSAM images. 400,000. The sheer volume is just mind-boggling for law enforcement.
It really shows the scale problem. AI allows generating and spreading this stuff at levels we've just never seen before. It swamps the old ways of trying to find and stop it.
They also mention how AI could potentially be used across the whole life cycle of a ransomware attack.
Like from start to finish.
Yeah, from scouting targets, finding weaknesses, delivering the payload, even negotiating the ransom.
Wow. AI negotiation bots.
Potentially. And then using AI for laundering the crypto proceeds through automated trading.
That would make ransomware even more efficient and harder to fight. Imagine trying to negotiate with an AI that never gets tired and adapts instantly.
And it hits home when the report quotes someone saying that for malware, often scale rather than sophistication is what matters most.
Exactly. AI is perfect for that kind of mass attack. The really fancy hacks get the headlines, but most cybercrime is about volume, hitting easy targets. AI just turns the volume way up.
Let's shift gears a bit. The report specifically calls out the role of China in this whole AI crime picture.
Yeah, that was interesting. They talk about Chinese innovation in frontier AI, the really cutting edge stuff.
And specifically how criminals are exploiting open weight systems from China. Can you explain open weight quickly?
Sure. Basically, it means the model's underlying structure, sometimes even the training data weights, are publicly available. This makes them powerful and adaptable, but
also easier for bad actors to tinker with, remove safety features.
exactly, fewer guardrails. And the report says criminals are using these for more advanced tasks, particularly and disturbingly in creating CSAM.
There's a geopolitical angle here too, isn't there? The AI race affecting crime tactics.
Definitely. The report suggests that because these powerful tools are coming out of China, Western governments might have less influence over their development or control. And criminals targeting, say, the UK can readily exploit them.
They name specific models, DeepSeek's V3 and R1 from late 24, early 25.
Right, and they raise this concern that Chinese AI innovation hasn't just caught up, it might actually be outpacing the West in some areas relevant to this.
There's a quote in there from a workshop participant about the wholesale use of Chinese models for child sexual exploitation and China leading in CSAM video creation. That's chilling.
It is. It shows how quickly this cutting-edge tech gets weaponized, wherever it comes from. The accessibility of these models is a massive challenge for global law enforcement.
Okay, so criminals are using AI against us, but the report also talks about attacks on the AI systems themselves.
Yes, that's another critical front. Because if they can compromise the AI, they can basically weaponize it even further. They talk about jailbreaking.
Which is like tricking the AI into ignoring its safety rules.
Pretty much. Finding ways around the built-in guardrails meant to stop it, generating harmful stuff or doing bad things.
And the research they found is worrying. Some models saw their rejection rate for malicious prompts plummet, like from nearly 100% down to just 2%.
That's a huge drop. It shows these jailbreaking methods are getting better. And there's anecdotal evidence, the report says, of criminal groups building their own LLMs, large language models, with the safety features stripped out from the start.
Their own partners in crime, basically.
That's the phrase they used, yeah.
And even without full jailbreaking, they mention prompt manipulation. Just phrasing things cleverly to get the AI to do dodgy stuff.
Right, like finding loopholes in its programming. Maybe making phishing emails that are more convincing because they bypass the AI's own checks.
It's a constant cat and mouse game.
It really is. And we're seeing specific criminal LLMs pop up, like Worm GPT for business email compromise or Fraud GPT for phishing and carding, available on the dark web, Telegram, making them accessible.
Scary stuff. Though the report does say, developers are constantly trying to patch things up. Risk mitigation is ongoing.
Absolutely. AI security is a moving target. The report also flags risks across the whole AI lifecycle development, testing, rollout. Every stage can have vulnerabilities.
Even just buying or licensing a pre-trained model could be risky, right? It might have hidden flaws.
Exactly. And remember, even GPT-4 was reportedly hacked soon after release, and a universal jailbreak tool appeared.
It shows how hard it is to secure these complex systems when determined people are looking for cracks.
Definitely. The attackers are often very quick to find and exploit weaknesses.
All right, let's take a quick pause here. We want to again thank our sponsors who make this deep dive possible. Huge thanks to www.cisomarketplace.services and www.airriskazis.com for their essential support. We'll be back right after this to look at more specific AI crime examples.
Welcome back. Let's get into some concrete examples from the CISO report, starting with that Hong Kong heist again, the 20 million one.
Right. The report really stresses the innovation there, the multimodal aspect using fake video and fake audio together.
Yeah, it wasn't just a dodgy video call. They layered this sophisticated AI deception onto existing fraud tactics, like fake payment requests.
Making them seem totally legit.
Exactly. And it worked because it preyed on basic human psychology, trusting your boss, or who you think is your boss. The report calls it obtaining property by deception, but the AI turbocharged the deception.
And likely started with a phishing email from the fake CFO too, right? Combining old and new tricks.
That seems very probable. It shows the dangerous mix of traditional cybercrime and these new AI methods.
The financial sector is clearly spooked. Deloitte projected AI-enabled fraud in the U.S. could hit $40 billion by 2027, up from $12.3 billion in 2023.
Those numbers are huge. And you always take projections with a pinch of salt, but it shows the potential scale. And it's telling that, according to one survey in the report, 37% of banks already see AI crime as their biggest challenge.
Bigger than account takeovers or regular money laundering.
Apparently so, for that group. And the actual losses seem to be mounting. Another report mentioned suggested over half the organizations surveyed lost between $5 million and $25 million in 2023, just from AI-related threats.
Wow.
You see this trend moving from smaller scams to potentially massive AI-driven operations, maybe even automated call centers doing fraud. As one interviewee said, fraud is the obvious area, because it's relatively easy to do and low risk for the threat actors.
Okay, shifting to a much darker topic, AI and child sexual exploitation. The report says there's been a significant increase in AI being used to create CSAM.
It's deeply disturbing. The Internet Watch Foundation found over 3,500 AI-generated CSAM images on just one dark web forum. And these images were realistic enough to be treated legally like real CSAM.
So the tech is there and it's being actively misused. They'd mentioned the Sweetie case too.
Yeah, the computer-generated virtual child that attracted thousands of adults seeking simulated abuse. It really highlighted the potential danger.
And law enforcement is seeing more of these cases, transnational ones that are hard to investigate.
Yes, they're complex, time-consuming, and the problem is these AI tools are easy to copy and share. Once someone develops a method,
it spreads through the criminal networks.
Exactly. They mention tools for 3D visualization of CSAM, offenders sharing not just the images but the how-to knowledge.
It's like a twisted open source community for abuse. There's a quote. The communities are very open. They will upskill each other, sell tools and models. They are about developing the tactic as a collective.
It's horrific. And the threat goes beyond images. Concerns about AI chatbots grooming kids, abuse on gaming platforms like Minecraft, CSAM ending up in AI training data, automated sharing on apps like Snapchat.
Plus youth gangs involved in online extortion using illicit images. It's a multi-front nightmare.
Truly. And then there's romance fraud. AI is making those scams more effective, too.
LLMs writing convincing love letters, deepfakes adding realism.
Precisely. AI helps scale the initial outreach, make it more personal. The report notes that building the actual fake relationship often still needs a human touch. For now. But AI makes the initial hook better, and deepfake media, fake videos, voice messages helps maintain the lie, build trust. It seems likely we'll see more convincing, real-time AI interactions soon, reducing the scammer's direct involvement.
Okay, let's talk market dynamics. How is all this accessible AI changing the criminal landscape itself? The report suggests it's lowering the barrier to entry?
That's a key point. These open source or open weight tools, plus things like downloadable starter packs for voice cloning, they make it easier for new players to get into crime. It could lead to just more crime overall.
And it reshapes how existing criminals operate too, their revenue models.
Potentially, yes.
Right.
And there's a real worry that social engineering could just get incredibly sophisticated.
And with police resources stretched thin, those smaller thefts under 30-pound KSA might get even harder to investigate, right? Even though they add up.
Absolutely. Plus, think about combining stolen data, credit card numbers, birthdays, with biometric data, like voice samples from somewhere. That enables really targeted, hard-to-stop attacks.
The report also flags large-scale AI extortion, like hitting cloud providers or using LLMs to negotiate ransoms automatically.
Yeah, that leads to that scary human speed defenders versus AI speed attackers scenario. It could make supply chain attacks much worse. And individual extortion using AI is apparently rising too.
It's grim. And going back to CSAM for a sec, the report notes a horrible economic point. Creating AI CSAM can be profitable through small transactions, and in some places, it might not even be strictly illegal if it's purely AI generated.
A legal loophole that needs closing urgently.
Definitely. And again, we really appreciate the support of our sponsors making this discussion possible. www.CISOmarketplace.services and www.ariscasis.com. Their partnership is invaluable.
So the transnational nature of cybercrime, AI just makes that worse, doesn't it?
Seems so. Microsoft's assessments from 2024 showed state actors using LLMs for all sorts of nasty stuff. Spear phishing, finding vulnerabilities, social engineering, getting deeper system access, even generating malicious code.
And a lot of the cybercrime hitting the UK originates overseas, often with state backing. These groups have the resources to develop AI tools, and organized crime is increasingly looking for malware developers.
Right. And back to the China point, the concern is that these powerful, accessible AI systems from China are easily exploitable by criminals targeting the UK and elsewhere, precisely because Western governments have limited leverage.
It's a significant vulnerability in the global system.
Okay, so it sounds like criminals are all set to fully weaponize AI, but the report does say there are bottlenecks holding them back, at least somewhat.
That's right. It's not quite a free-for-all yet. They track AI trends, sure, but face hurdles. One is just technical skill needing data science, programming expertise for the advanced stuff.
Makes sense. And computing power. AI needs a lot of grunt.
Yep. Getting and hiding access to powerful computing is expensive and tricky for criminals.
Operational security must be a big one, too. They need secrecy, right? AI might leave digital footprints or mess up their operational control somehow.
That's a definite concern for them. And finally, reliability. AI can be unpredictable, especially jailbroken systems. If you have a reliable criminal income stream, introducing flaky AI could actually mess it up.
It's a good reminder that, as the report says, most cybercrime isn't AI-driven yet. It's still mostly things like standard ransomware. There's maybe a bit of novelty bias around Gen AI right now.
Yeah, and the science on its actual impact is still pretty new. But the report argues strongly that law enforcement, working with national security and industry, needs to target these bottlenecks, make it harder for criminals to overcome them.
Understand the weak points and exploit them defensively.
Exactly. The better we grasp their challenges, the better we can block their adoption of these tools.
The report also gets into the whole offense-defense battle with AI crime, like who has the upper hand?
It draws on cybersecurity research. People often assume attackers always have the edge online, but studies show it really depends on context.
Like resources, skills.
Right. How mature are the attackers versus the defenders? And interestingly, they mentioned Bruce Schneier's idea that using machine learning in software development might actually help find and fix bugs before attackers can exploit them. Kind of narrows the opportunity window.
So it's not guaranteed criminals win just by using AI.
No. The balance depends on lots of things. Cost to attack versus defend. Complexity of the AI, public awareness, how embedded AI defenses become. It's a dynamic situation.
Okay, so what can be done? The report talks about responses, potential reforms. It notes countering AI crime is a top policy priority now.
Which is good. A key issue flagged is criminals exploiting open source AI.
Right. So what about legal changes?
Well, one idea is extending child exploitation laws to cover requesting AI-generated childlike images, even if no real child was involved. Also, calls to ban things like nudifying apps, especially if they're UK-based.
But regulation has limits, doesn't it? It's slow, gets watered down by politics or business.
Exactly, and it might not stop the criminals themselves, just push them elsewhere. The classic whack-a-mole problem. Regulation alone probably isn't enough, especially with AI moving so fast.
Which leads to the idea of fighting fire with fire. AI versus AI.
Yeah, the report is pretty clear that defensive AI will likely be crucial. There's some optimism about moving from, manual firefighting to automated AI-powered network defense and threat detection.
We're already seeing progress there, right? AI identifying malicious actors in real time, boosting investigative tools, fighting deepfakes and phishing.
Definitely. Things like content authenticity tools will be vital, and maybe building a market for AI that's secure by design from the ground up. Plus, technical measures for data integrity, making models robust against attacks like data poisoning. IBM's framework is mentioned as an example.
So lots of technical defenses are needed.
Absolutely. Combining those with good security practices across the AI lifecycle is key to mitigating the risks.
Okay, last big area, law enforcement itself. The report is pretty blunt about the need for them to get up to speed on AI.
It really is. It talks about an enormous gap between law enforcement's current tech capabilities and the scale of the AI crime problem. Real concerns about their ability to understand, deal with, and even use AI effectively.
So how do they bridge that gap?
It needs action on multiple fronts. Better training, more collaboration between agencies with industry, smart regulation engaging the public. Mandatory structured AI training for officers is crucial. Specialized training for tackling transnational AI crime networks. and using AI tools in policing itself.
Like the quote says, if the problem is tech-driven, the solution has to be tech-driven as well.
Precisely. And this leads to a major recommendation, a new dedicated AI crime task force within the NCA's National Cybercrime Unit.
What would it do?
Coordinate the national response, gather data, track how criminals are using AI, and map out those adoption bottlenecks we talked about earlier to help target interventions.
Makes a lot of sense. And let's thank our sponsors one last time for helping us explore all this: www.cisomarketplace.services and www.ariscasus.com. Your support is greatly appreciated.
So, wrapping up, the picture's pretty clear, isn't it? AI-enabled crime is rising fast. It's getting more sophisticated. There are geopolitical factors. AI systems themselves are vulnerable, and the uses range from finance crime to child exploitation. It's a serious, urgent situation.
And the clear message from the report is we need proactive countermeasures now. That means better defensive AI and significantly boosting law enforcement's AI capabilities like yesterday.
Which leaves us with a question for everyone listening. AI is developing incredibly quickly, and criminals are weaponizing it faster and faster. So how can you, whether as an individual or part of an organization, adapt your own security, your own critical thinking to avoid becoming the next victim of an AI attack?
And beyond just protecting yourself, what are the ethical issues here? What are our responsibilities as a society in this new landscape?
Good questions to ponder.
Definitely. We really encourage everyone to check out the full CISO report and the AI incidents brief for more detail. Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.